Hey there, welcome. This is Pillow Talk with Tanya, a show where each week I'll be inviting you into my bed to have a little chat about love and relationships. This week I'm not in my bed, I'm visiting a friend across the border, so welcome to his spare bed. It's an air mattress, so I'm not going to sit on it, but I am, as promised, going to share my funniest first date fail. So start thinking about your funniest first date fail because I am dying to hear about it. Mine's a little too recent for my liking, but here goes. We were walking home from the bar. We'd had a few cocktails. He was walking me home, and I must have looked unsteady on my feet because he kept expressing concern about my walking. I proceeded to brush this off. I was like, oh, I'm just a fairly clumsy person. I always look a little bit drunker than I actually am. It's all good. We're good. And we were until about 10 steps from my front door when I tripped on nothing. And as I was going down, I thought, you're going to recover. Like, you're not actually going to fall. This is fine. You're just missing a step. And I think he thought the same thing because when I looked up after rolling down the hill, we both had a look of shock on our face, like, what just happened? And I don't know what happened, but I tripped on my own 2 feet, fell, and like somersaulted down the hill. Thankfully, nothing was broken or bruised. He helped me up and got me into my house. Everything was fine. I woke up in the morning, no bruises, nothing. I was fully intact, which is amazing because I usually bruise pretty easily. So I was surprised that everything was fine because it was quite the fall. A little embarrassing, but mostly funny. And we joked about it. In the end, we decided to just be friends rather than keep dating, which brings me to my next topic. Can heterosexual men and women just be friends? Or is something romantic always brewing? This is a question I have asked many people over the years, and I am fascinated by the answers. I've found that the majority of men say that something romantic is always brewing. Not all men, but the majority. And the majority of women say, no, of course you can be just friends. So I'm curious what you think and what your experience has been. My experience has been that typically, if you're friends first, if it starts out platonic, so there's no romantic feelings on either part, and let's say a crush evolves over time. So, like one day you wake up and you're like, oh, they're kind of cute or whatever. And you express interest and they're not reciprocating, they're not into it. I think in those cases, you can go back to the platonic feelings and be like, well, the friendship is worth it. I want to save the friendship. And because you didn't initially have a crush, you can remember what it's like to just be friends with them and go back to that. Especially if the crush isn't that intense, it's like just something that cropped up. But if the crush is like intense and immediate, the day you meet them, you find them attractive, you want to be romantic with them, and those feelings never go away. If they don't reciprocate, I think in those situations, I would have to walk away. I don't think that I could stay friends with them. I think the feelings of wanting to be with them would be too intense, especially if they came from day one, if that's how it started. I would find it really hard to bury those feelings and just pretend that they never existed, especially if they started dating someone. I would definitely feel insecure and jealous, and I would probably be torturing myself a little bit. So I think that I would have to walk away from that friendship. But as I said, if it didn't start out that way, if it started platonic, I think I could get over it. But what about you? What do you think? Do you think that there's always the possibility of something romantic brewing? Or do you think that two heterosexual men and women, well, one of each, do you think that they can just be platonic the whole time? I would like to hope so. I think so. I've had, purely platonic friendships with guys, and I would like to think that it's always been platonic and always will be platonic. But of course, I'm not inside their heads, so I don't know. But I would like to think that it is possible to just have a purely platonic relationship with a guy. I would also like to think that sometimes if the romantic relationship evolved, you could still be friends and move past that. But I do know that it would be difficult, especially if it's intense. So, yeah, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think that it can be purely platonic? What do you think happens when somebody starts to get romantic feelings? Do you think you can brush that off and go back to being friends? What do you think when you immediately have a crush on someone? Do you think you could just be their friend if they're not interested? Dying to hear your stories. Please, please share and share your funniest first date fails. Of course, like and subscribe if you want to see more. Vote in my weekly pillow poll, and I might have a guest for my show. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you back in my actual bed next week.